What is your purpose in life? What are God's dreams for you? How can your life make a difference? Finding the answers to these questions is the most exciting thing about being a Christian. We are works in process, shaped by our prayers, reflections, and experiences. In other words, new chapters are yet to be written in the novels which are our lives. We are unfinished. Our church, too, is unfinished. That's been true since 1798, when area Methodists first began meeting secretly in homes to worship God freely. This was the very beginning of Manchester United Methodist Church. It was true when John Ball, founder of Baldwin in 1826, donated the first permanent place of worship to the Methodists here. It was even true in 1856 when our chapel was first built, and in 1999 when the sanctuary was consecrated. It's still true today. We are unfinished. God is continually transforming our church and the lives of those who worship here.
We came to Manchester about 20 years ago to provide a better setting and a lot of involvement for our daughter, Erica.
When I was growing up, church just meant going to church every Sunday. I think Erica became more giving and more spiritual at an earlier age, and we're very proud of her.
We have really grown in our involvement, and as she's grown into an adult, we've kind of broadened and taken our involvement different directions.
That's really something I really like. That's important to us.
God has done amazing things through Manchester United Methodist Church in the 200-plus years of our existence. I'm sure no one in 1798 or at any other of the defining moments of our history would have dreamed of what we have become today, a vibrant 3,200-member congregation following God's call to make a difference for Christ in our world. Last year alone, approximately 8,000 lives were touched by Manchester United Methodist through 25 different ministries. We saw people baptized, people join the church, people faithfully give, and more people than ever participating in faith formation classes and small groups. We've reached over 25,000 people in social media efforts, and we were featured on every major network TV station in St. Louis this year. Our message is resonating. Manchester United Methodist is not only a place to worship, it's also a place to grow in faith, to find like-minded friends, and to transform our community through meaningful ministry.
The first time we were here, we just knew this was the church for us.
The thing that really drew us to Manchester was their depth of ministry and the outreach towards not just people within the church, but the people outside of the church. We were very impressed that every time we turned around, we were being exposed to another ministry.
The church is a great church, but mainly because it's just the way they help other people. They're always helping other people, and you can't beat that.
So, what's in store for the future? We believe God is leading us into another bold chapter in the story of Manchester UMC. It's true we have touched our world for Christ, but we believe our rich history is only the beginning. And that's why we're launching a new generosity initiative entitled Unfinished. We believe there is so much more God needs us to do to advance the gospel and touch our community. For example, live video streaming is a new frontier that can dramatically extend the reach of our message to community neighbors, the homebound, and potentially thousands more who are desperate for hope in their lives. Our missions ministries are at the heart of the church, but they need expanded facilities to serve the ever-growing needs in a world that seems only to get colder. An expansion is the first step in creating further outreach, like after-school programs that could be a lifeline for many. Transforming our library into a coffee house will offer a welcoming space for people from the surrounding community, people who may otherwise never darken the door of a church. And for members, it will be an attractive meeting space for friends, family, and small study groups. Our youth are a treasure, so we need to do everything possible to encourage their spiritual growth, interaction, and a love for God's people. A renovated youth room will offer a safe, fun, and welcoming environment. And finally, we need to be good stewards of God's house by replacing inefficient and aging heating and cooling systems, controls, and lighting. In the end, our estimated energy savings will free approximately $40,000 per year for further ministry. So how do we write the next chapter in our church's life? The answer is quite simple. Participate. Participate both in ministry and financially. If 100% of our congregation makes a commitment, any size commitment, To advance the gospel, grow in faith, and transform our community, we will meet our 2-year goal of $7.5 million. We will fund all the initiatives I mentioned, as well as ongoing ministry of the church. It's amazing, but that's the beauty of everyone joining together.
When you go to the chapel and you think about what this area looked like back when that chapel was built, it is kind of a neat feeling being connected to that and being part of that history. I think the church has been important to the Manchester City area, so hopefully we can kind of carry that torch forward still and still be an important part of this community as we continue on.
I've been told by the experts that commitments are not fashionable in today's world. In fact, it seems like avoiding commitment is in vogue. But I honestly believe that commitment is the one way God helps us step out in faith. God is calling us to live lives of generosity. To be part of Unfinished means to be prayerful, listen to God's calling and direction, and be faithful and obedient to what the Lord asks. And I hope every person in Manchester UMC will play a role in Unfinished by making the most significant spiritual and generosity commitments possible. As we take next steps as followers of Jesus, our lives begin to look more like the life of Jesus. With Unfinished, we are not asking you to pay for something. We are asking you to give out of a heart that is growing closer and closer to Jesus every day. My prayer is that your commitment to Unfinished will not only impact thousands of lives, but that it will greatly impact your own life as well, because it will cause you to rely on God as never before. I so look forward to writing our next chapter together, because God's not done with Manchester UMC yet. Let's take this journey together, trusting that our ministry is in God's hands and remains unfinished.